Okay, we're back. This is part 2, and I'm just going to start off fresh. I just talked about Geno Smith and Drew Lock's quarterback situation. Now we're going to talk about KD reiterated his trade request with the Nets. So he's trying to really urge them to, he's really trying to urge them to trade. Because, normally when you don't hear about a big story, especially a trade request, and you don't hear about it for a while, you normally just assume it was resolved. Like with Russell Wilson, sorry. It was like, we hadn't heard about him for a while, so it was resolved. Kind of. And then they just traded him this year. So, I don't know. It's, hard for me to have sympathy for him. When Watson requested the trade from the Texans and we didn't know anything about, the allegations. That's actually what made it hard for me to believe at first, with the allegations, it was hard for me to believe because it came exactly when he was in all these stories, But the more that piled on, it was it was okay, this is ridiculous, it's a crazy story. Anyway, I can't wait to see the 30 for 30 on that. But it's hard for me to have it was easy for me to have sympathy at the time for Watson because he had spent 5 years in the Texans system where he was putting up great numbers. He led the league in passing yards once. And his team was just complete garbage. So at the time, it was easy for me to feel sympathy for him. With KD, it's you had the Warriors dynasty. You had Steph Clay and Steve Kerr. You had possibly the best coach in the league. The best coach in the league at the time, definitely. Best shooter in the game. A top 5 shooter in the game. And Draymond, who has always been a great defender. You had a great team. He was in a great spot, and he wasn't satisfied. You weren't satisfied. Steph Clay and Steve Kerr. And you chose the Nets over those guys, and now you want to leave. You're the one who chose Kyrie and Steve Nash over Steph and Steve Kerr. Hey, that's on you, pal. Alright. So, Serena Williams, the best tennis player to ever play by a wide margin, is planning to retire after this year. And there's not much more to react to except for the fact that she was the best player to ever play tennis by a wide margin. She has the most Grand Slams in the Open era, 23. She is the only player to have won 3 different slams 6 times. Only player to have won 3 slams after saving match point. Not much of a tennis guy, so I don't know what a lot of this means, just to let you know. She had the most consecutive weeks ranked number 1 with 186. 186 weeks. That's I don't know, what is that, 3 years probably around there? Almost 3 years. Right? I don't know. Maybe a little over. That's math I don't want to do right now. She is one of only 2 players to hold all 4 slams simultaneously on 2 separate occasions. She's the oldest player to win a slam at 35. Oldest player to be ranked number 1 at 35. So she had a pretty good career, to say the least. So, anyway, that's like, I don't know, I'm like speechless. Her career was fantastic. And she, honestly, when you look at the other icons in that sport, it's kind of crazy that she's the one that sticks out the most. Like, okay, so 186 weeks is 3.5 years. That's incredible. As the number, she was ranked number 1 3.5 years running. When you look at it, it's like there are a lot of other great players in that sport. There was Billie Jean King, he's another icon. Steffi Graf. There's all these other icons in tennis, and she's the one that is universally called the GOAT. By the way, she had 186 straight weeks as number 1. She had 319 total weeks as number 1. That is like unheard of. So moving on to football again, out of tennis. Moving on to something I actually know about. So Von Miller is recruiting Odell to Buffalo. And, they got great branding, the Rams. I think Von Miller was, done, and then all of a sudden he delivers in LA. He wasn't nearly what he used to be, obviously. He's an older player now. But he wasn't really contributing much to the Broncos, so he goes to the Rams. And he loved LA, too. And the thing is, everyone gets, quiet in LA. That's why I think Odell should stay there, because I don't like when he was loud. He was really annoying. Odell. The way I see it. But I think he'd actually be a pretty good piece in Buffalo. I think he's best with the Rams. I think this is... not the best he's ever been. He was better statistically with the Giants, but I think... I don't know, he's just more likable with the Rams, honestly. I still don't really like him that much, but... he's a lot less insufferable with the Rams than he was with the Giants. Again, from a player standpoint, he is a good fit for Buffalo. I think Josh Allen, great quarterback. They have a good O-line. They have a good coach. They just have a great team. I think they could be Super Bowl favorites this year. So OBJ could be on his way to winning another Super Bowl as well this year if he goes there. I think it's a decent fit. I do. So Roquan Smith. We are hearing a lot of trade requests today, aren't we? Smith, KD, Kareem Hunt. Although, with Roquan Smith, the team, all three of the teams seem to be in a rough spot because the Nets are a total failure. They signed KD and Kyrie. And they lost in the first round and second round. They got swept this year. They're that's there's no two ways about that. That's like a failure. And the Browns are going to be a mess because Watson's going to be suspended at least 6 games right now. So at least for a decent amount of the season, they're going to have Jacoby Brissett as their top quarterback. And he's capable, but it's like, I don't know if he can do that for 6 weeks straight and have him be consistent. And if Watson turns out to be out for the year, I don't know if Brissett's the best quarterback for the year. And they have a decent roster too. So it's like, I don't know. And then you got the Bears, who are just they're just dumb. But they're in a rough spot. And honestly, I think I can move. I think I would, if I were them, I would trade him. Because linebackers, I don't think are a big position to be paid this anymore. I don't know if they ever were. I don't think linebackers are a significant paying position. And in the Bears situation, they definitely aren't. I think the last thing the Bears have to worry about right now is defense. Like, if I were them, I'd move him off for like a receiver, and maybe offer a draft pick too, just to get like a decent receiver. Because their offense, honestly, I like some of them. I think Darryl Mooney is pretty good. Cole Kmet, I like Cole Kmet. Like, you got to get Fields. You got to get Justin Fields up and running. And fix your own line. You know, Roquan Smith is a great player. But you got to focus on Fields right now. And you got a defense. You don't have to focus on that. You know, you got to focus on getting your receiving core together and developing Fields into a great quarterback if you want to have a good future. Because right now, you're pretty crappy.